A very warm welcome to you, our viewers out there. Welcome you to the Master Seed Youth Fellowship, a fellowship that actually focuses on moving the youth from one level of glory into another level of glory, knowing fully well that the youth of today are the future leaders of tomorrow. And I'm your host for today. I'm Akikunle Akela, and the topic I have before you on this glorious day is choices. Looking at what we'll discuss on our topic today is the aspect of choices and what are the things that actually determines the choices we make in our lives. And looking at the aspect of the mentors where we are actually making choices in life. And as you know that I'm not always alone in the studio, I have two young people that are going to discuss with us on our topic today. It's a great privilege for us to have you to come and discuss with us on our topic today, choices.
Thank you, Mr. Akin. I'm Malevana Christabel, and clinical psychologist in practice.
I'm David Moronfolu from Pretoria. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us on our topic today. And I believe that based on what we have today, God will use you to speak his mind to his people, talking about choices and also being a professional in one aspect. You'll actually help us to actually discuss more on our topic today. And to our viewers out there, let's go on to a short break. We'll be right back with more for you. On our topic today, choices. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back from that break, and if you're just joining us, you're tuning into the Master Seed Youth Fellowship on our topic today, choices. And like I said before we went on the previous break, that I'm not always alone. I have with us on this day, Christabel and Brother David. They're here to discuss with us on our topic today. I want to welcome you one more time on this program. Before we actually go into what we have for today to the youth, I'm not limited to the youths only, to the people that are actually watching, because I want to believe there are always elements of thoughts in whatever it is that we'll say today, and people can actually learn from what we want to discuss today. To start with you, Brother David, let's start with choices. What is a choice?
Well, a choice is the ability to make a selection from two or more options. So before you can make a choice, there has to be options. So the ability to make a selection from the options you have is what I refer to as choice.
And to you?
Choice could simply be referred as an act of picking or deciding from two or more possibilities that one could select from.
Now, having said that about the choices is actually picking or selecting from more than one option. That is what a choice is now. So what are now those things that actually determines the choices we actually make in life? You as a clinical psychologist, something must have propelled you to actually say, okay, this is what I actually want to go for. So what are those things that actually determines the choices we make in life? To start with you.
The things that actually governs our choices, the number one thing for me is purpose. You see, for instance, I see a lot of young people today who, for all they know, all they want to do with their life is make money. Okay, you make money, and then what do you want to do with all the money? You want to live large, and then what? That's the end. But when you pursue purpose, when you have a purpose in mind, the money comes along. Because the purpose will drive your vision. And when your vision is driven, it gives it all the momentum that you require. Sometimes, a lot of times, we're actually down. You see, and as it is, where we are today as a result of choices we made yesterday, and whatever will be tomorrow will be a product of our choices today. So our choices can either make us or destroy us. That's how very, very crucial choices are. But if we now make choices without good purposes, then it may as well destroy us. You see, so it seems like a very, very simple thing, but then at the end of the day, it is very, very deep and a very, very delicate matter. If not taken seriously, a lot of lives have been ruined as a result of choices. Yeah, so purpose is very, very important.
Still to talk about purpose, you actually mentioned the purpose, and we know that when purpose of a thing is not done, abuse is inevitable. And purpose talks about the reason for actually doing something. So now, can we now come to a conclusion that before we actually make whatever choice it is that we actually want to make in life, we need to have the end in view because you brought in the aspect of purpose.
Yes, because the purpose will now determine the type of choices that you make. Because now you know where you're going. So your choices will be more structured as opposed to just you have options and you just want to make a choice.
Thank you very much. And to Christabel, the factors that actually determines the choices we make in life.
When coming to factors that drive us to the purposes, it depends with what one wants to reach, the goal that one is looking at. For example, here now we're going to be mostly focusing on career and choosing a partner. So there are factors that leads one into ending up to say, the goal that I want to reach there is this one. For example, when coming to career-wise, when we grow up, we have some childhood fantasies that one plays to say, for example, when I grow up, I want to be a nurse or I want to be a doctor, which they just come out as a play and at that time as a child. For example, when you grow up, that's when you begin to learn more about yourself. You begin to be aware of like, what would I like to be? What mostly am I interested at? Which actually end up directing one to say, okay, I could in fact do that. And also we have abilities or the skills that one has, which could also direct one to choose a career, to say, okay, in fact, I'm better at that one, or I can sing better. For example, previous experiences, one could have participated in drama, one could have sang, one could have took one part in poetry or one other. So that thing could end up leading one to say, oh, I've realized I have this strength in this one, which could end up propelling one to follow his choices.
Let's follow up on the aspect of the career you actually mentioned, and I want to use you as a practical example so that we can actually learn from you. Now, talking about choices, a clinical psychologist, what was that thing that actually propelled you or that moved you in making the choice that this is my path in life?
Regarding that one, at first, becoming a clinical psychologist was not my dream while I grew up. I had several choices. While I was a child, I wanted to become a physiotherapist until I finished my matric. I realized, no, I no longer want to become a a physiotherapist. And now I decided to say, okay, I'll go and register nursing. But it was also influenced by friends and whatnot inside. And when I went, I found that the space was full. I couldn't get it. And I had the other choice, which was social work, which one had to go for interviews and whatnot. I went, I wrote exams, and I was unsuccessful. I ended up enrolling with UNISA, which was a long distance, and it was not much effective like it would have been when I was in a full-time institution. So I ended up going on for some years with it at UNISA, and at last I decided to go to further it in a full-time institution where they promised to credit me each year. They were like, okay, we will give you social work next year, this year, next year, until I reached the final year of my degree. And then that's when following psychology was now in part in vision. And it happened to be so much smooth with it because there are a lot of interviews that follows becoming clinical psychologist. It's not just a smooth way to like, you go to a varsity, I apply for this, I need to do this, and they get you at spot. You have to be tested, you have to be assessed first before you could be accepted. And in other ways, I can say it was God-led because throughout the interviews, the wisdom and the knowledge that was there, it was actually from God.
Thank you very much. I want to go to Brother David based on what you actually said now. Now, how do we now handle those external factors that tends to determine the choices we make for ourselves? Initially, it could not be the choice I actually wanted to make, but because of this factor, that factor, then I'm like maybe compelled, let me use the word compelled, to actually making a choice. How do we handle such things?
Okay, well, just let me pick a point out from what she has said. I believe most times, as we grow up, especially when it comes to career, and not just career, even when it comes to relationship, like the type of husband or the type of wife that we want to marry. When you are young, there are childhood fantasies. You understand? For example, one of mine was, yeah, I wanted to marry a white woman. Yeah, like that. And then as a kid, also, I mean, when it comes to what I wanted to do, initially, I wanted to become a pilot, and then I was like, no. I wanted to become a medical doctor, and I was like, no. I wanted to become a musician, and I was like, no. I wanted to be in sports, and then no. But one thing is, at the end of the day, as I grew older, you understand, and I understood better. You see, my thinking began to change. As you understand how life works better, your thinking begins to change. And also, the environment has a lot to do when it comes to the type of choices that you make, the kind of circles you are with, the kind of parents you have, the kind of friends you have, the kind of people that you relate with. They also go a long way in determining how your choices are made. It may not be direct, but indirectly and subconsciously you begin to make choices along that line.
Okay, but don't you think at times it could be very, very costly trying to make choice out of my own personal experience, neglecting the roles of mentors? Because I want to do this at some point, no, that one, no. Time is ticking. Don't you think it's going to be costly at such times?
Yes, I would concur with you that it does cost time a lot because I spent 4 years without being at varsity. And by the moment when I went to varsity, I was like, oh, it's more like I already have a degree, which I have nothing. But it gives more courage to say, as much as that time passed, but the one that I have in current, I better make a profit out of it. Like I said, there's a goal that one is looking at to reach.
Thank you very much. That's so powerful and so profound. That's so true, yeah. And so, viewers out there, let's continue on to a short break. We'll be right back with more for us. Still on our topic today, choices. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back from that break, and if you're just joining us, you're tuning into the Master Seed Youth Fellowship, and our topic today, choices. And like I said before we went to the previous break, I have two young people that are here to discuss with us, talking about Isabel and David. Before we actually went on the previous break, you laid the foundation as to what a choice is. Actually picking or selecting from various options. And we went ahead into the factor that actually determines the choices we make in life. Now, amongst the factors that you actually mentioned, I picked up something. That's the aspect of the peer pressure. Now, let's talk about the roles of friends in the choices we make. To start with, Brother David.
Well, friends have very, very significant roles to play in the choices we make, especially when we've not yet attained our goal or attained our purpose. So on the way to attain our goal and our purpose, we need to surround ourselves with the type of friends that are driven by the same vision. Not the same vision as you, but are driven by vision. They are particular about what they want. Because there are people, I've seen young people with a lot of great potentials. But because they are surrounded
The circle of
by
influences.
you know, all they just do is gallivant around with their lives. And you find that most times they want to make amends, but there are certain things that they cannot make amends for. So yeah, some of their things are already cut short. Yeah. Some make the best use of what they have left and are able to make something out of it. But others, their story is not the same. They make choices that they can never ever recover from for the rest of their lives. So friends are very, very important. If you don't have a purpose, if you don't have a goal, don't pick close friends yet. Until you have that particular thing. Because your friends, like I said, will influence you whether you like it or not. They will influence you directly or indirectly. They may not tell you, do this or do that. But sometimes, you know, you might be like, but then this is what I think, or that is what I think. And then when you come into that situation, you remember, but then this my friend said this is what he thinks. So I think that can work. Unconsciously, you've made a choice, and then you go that direction, and then it doesn't work for you. And then it turns out to be something else, you see. So that's why even friends are very, very important.
Now, what do you now think about this as to we actually standing our grounds when we're talking about choices? We brought in the roles of friends now. But you know, there are times you have some friends, they come to you as friends, but deep within them, they're enemies. Even the Bible affirms to that we have to beware of wolves in sheep's clothing. So at such times, what should be our right posture? Still back to you.
When we have, see, even the friends that you have is also a choice,
Yeah.
right? When friends who are enemies come to you
Pretending as a good friend.
when they come to you as such, you see, one thing is you can easily fall for them. Like I said, you can easily fall for them if you yourself are not particular about what you want. If you are particular about what you want, if you have your goal in sight, for example, if you told me to walk up straight to where that thing is, if I stand up and try to go there, this thing is hindering me from going there. I'm going to bypass this table to go there. As long as I reach there, I'm fine. As opposed to you just saying, walk to any place in this room. If I wanted to go there, once this table is obstructing me, I'll pick another direction.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing particular
You're actually
that
aiming
I'm aiming
at.
at.
Yeah.
I may as well go anywhere. You
That's so-
understand?
yeah.
So that's why it starts
Comes
with
back
you.
with us.
Starts with you. If you are fine, the rest is gonna be easy. Not so easy, but at least to a certain point.
So the most important thing is actually you knowing what you want for yourself. That's so profound. Let's talk about the roles of friends in the choices we make in life.
Okay, Mr. Akin, thank you. There is a significant role, I concur with him, that friends play. And like you said, there is a choice. Even when becoming to friends, you choose who your friends are. And I believe growing up in a Christian family, we know that the word of God tells us from the book of Matthew 6:33 that seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all shall be added unto you. So when you are rooted in the word of God and you know what God says, seeking him, even choosing friends, you will also have the knowledge that also it is said in the book of 2 Corinthians 14 verse 6 that be ye not unequally yoked with the unbelievers. Because the moment you choose friends, you cannot go with friends that you know our vision are not the same. Where we are going, if we disagree, we cannot work together. So when I come from a Christian family, the friends that I choose, the friends that I go with, because the career building, the career choice, it starts from the lower primary, it comes to the high primary schools. That's where you begin to see even teachers also plays a role because they're able to spot in you, oh, you are good in such a subject, which they begin to say, oh, you could either do engineering, or you could be good in being a doctor, or you could be certain things that they would also be able to shape what you could be good at. And also friends. There are friends that, like I said, when you choose, they could be able to say, oh, my friend, I've noticed you're good in mathematics. In fact, you could be a medical doctor or something else that somehow relates to what you're studying. Because also the choices that we make of subject at high school, they determine the career that we'll be able to choose in the higher institution, university level.
And it actually goes back to what Brother David actually said as to, we are here we are today. We are where we are today based on the choice I made yesterday. And what I will be tomorrow is based on the choices I actually make today. Now, to take it a step further, what are those things that we actually need to look into before we actually make choices in life? Though we actually spoke about the aspect of the view, as in having the hand in the view. What are also other things that we need to actually put in place before we actually start making choices?
You've defined, okay, what is it that I want? But then the next point will be, how do I get to where I want to get to? You understand? So that's the next important question after you've defined what you want. So now, the how you want to get there is what will now determine your next course of action, given the options that you have. What you are going to choose from this point on will be something that has to lead you to where you are going. That's how it is. Okay, so those factors, there can be a whole lot of factors. There can be a range of things, but no matter what it is, because I know there's no one size fits all when it comes to making choices, but no matter what it is, let whatever you are aiming for, let it be your guide as to making choices on selecting whatever it is that you have available to you at the moment, at any given point in time. Because the choice not to make a choice is a choice by itself.
Yeah.
There's no how you can do without making choices.
That's so true and so profound.
Okay, looking at this one, like, for example, when choosing, you need to have a thorough research regarding what you would like to do or regarding whatever skills that you already attain. And what you need to do is to focus on what you perform higher at. It could be either academically, it could be either through your hands, your voice, or whatever skills that you have. And after looking at that, because there might be various, you research concerning it. Economically, you check, if I were to choose this path, what would be my end result? What would I attain at this? If ever you say, I need to become maybe an engineer or whatever, are there job opportunities? Is the salary there? Because I can't just say I want to become something, and at the end, after years of struggle, I earn peanuts. So those are some of the things that shapes our choices.
Thank you very much for actually explaining to us more. Now, before we actually call it a wrap on this episode, now let's talk about the roles of mentors and parents in making choices.
Coming to mentors and parents, I'm not going to forget something that happened some years ago while I was sleeping at night. My mom walked into the room, woke me up like I was deep into sleep. I was loving the sleep and enjoying it. She walked into the room, she woke me up, and she sat me down. Initially, I was like, well, whatever we want to discuss, can't it wait till morning when at least I'll be. She said, no, sit now. You understand? And she said a lot of things. You understand? She sat me down and told me a lot of things about life in general. And one of them actually has to do with the choices that I needed to make for my life. They've made their own choices. They are still making their own choices. But of course, they want my life to be better than theirs. So they want me to make better choices than they have made. So yes, parents actually play a very, very important role. Well, I thank God that my parents are quite liberal. They are not the type that will say you must become an accountant or you must become a medical doctor so you can take over my practice or you must become, no. They're quite liberal, but whatever you want to do, you must know what it is in particular that you want to do. You understand? And it also has to do with the choice of a life partner and all of that. I'm sure if I go to my parents now and I say, this is who it is that I want to marry, are you sure that this is what you want to do? You understand? If I say I'm sure, they'll get behind me. This is the choice that I've made. You understand? Even though, of course, they will make their own research. You know, when it comes to marriage, parents are also involved. They will do their own parents' thing. And then, yeah. But at the end of the day, they will still get behind me now. This is the choice that you have made. We believe is the best for you. Flow. So yes, they also do have an important role. Also mentors. Now, when it comes to mentors, I have a mentor. And I chose my mentor not just because he's where I would love to be. He's still on the rise. But I chose based on the fact that he's someone who has been through what I am going through, so that he can also help with the decisions and the choices. And you know what? Choose this way instead, so that at least you still have your end game in play, as opposed to this. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, I think that's making sense. You know, we need a light on our path, even though you know where you're going. If you walk in darkness, your road may lead elsewhere. Yeah, so mentors and parents play very, very
Very,
crucial
very
role.
important role. And see roles of mentors and parents in choices.
Yeah, I would agree that there's a very vital role that parents play around us during the career choices and developing. For example, my father used to call me a distinction material. He's late anyway by now. He never came to see that. But when it happened, I remembered back that, oh, that man, he used to call me a distinction material. Until 2 years after I graduated with those distinctions, I looked back to my certificate and I'm like, oh, distinctions. My father once said I'm a distinction material. Indeed, this thing, it is now manifesting. It is true. And going back to choices, as much as parents are our models, they model us, they also give us that space to say, choose what you want. For example, I remember when I was going to grade 10, there's where streams begin now to differ. You have to choose. I went to my uncle and I was like to him, between commerce and physical science, which one is difficult, which one is simple? I wanted the simple one. But my uncle's answer was like, they're both the same. You decide which one you want between the two. And from there, I sat down and I made my own choice of which one do I want. And I also had my grandmother and my grandfather, whom they were also encouraging. That my grandmother would always say, you must study so you can be able to stand out among your peers. And my grandfather was also of support in that times. And when I went to a higher institution, I had a mentor who is Pastor Mbajogu. He's in fact the one who applied for me in the University of Limpopo while I was relaxed. I was quite relaxed. And even when coming to psychology, he came to me also. He spoke because he knew what courses I was doing. And he inquired, which one would I like to follow? I selected sociology anyway. He was like, have you ever thought about psychology? And I was like, okay. But it comes like, psychology, no, it's not part of me. But the vision came later. And I followed it. And I thank God of my mother, who have been so supportive throughout my career, as much as she was not at times understanding what it is. But she was like, if this is what you want, you will get it. Follow it.
Thank you so much. Before we call it a wrap, what will be your final thoughts to our viewers on choices?
Let your purpose govern your choices.
And you too?
Focus on your end goal.
Thank you so much. We don't want to appreciate you for making time to be with us, and you've actually spoken to us, and we really appreciate you. Thank you for making time to be with us on this day.
Thank you.
And so, our viewers out there, I believe you've learned so many things on our topic, choices. What actually makes us man is because of the choices that God has actually given unto us. The moment we don't have a choice to make, or we can't make choices for ourselves, we are nothing different from a robot. But what makes you and myself man is that power of choice that God has actually given unto us. Perhaps you have any comments and anything you actually want to do with us, you can do that on our Facebook page. And you can also go onto our YouTube to actually watch some of the series in which we have. That's the Master Seed. We want to leave you with the personality of the week. Please stay with us.